Hello and namaste to everyone. This is Jayoti from the Department of Physiotherapy and Diagnostics. Today, from Jyoti Vidyapeeth Vidyapeeth Women's University. Today, I'll be talking about renal regulation of pH. So, in past lectures, we talked about uh, body regulation of pH. So, there was first line of defense, second line of defense, and third line of defense. So, for first line of defense, we have read about blood buffers. Three of the blood buffers that we came across was bicarbonate buffer system. Second line of defense was respiratory regulation. Or third line of defense there is renal regulation. So for today we'll be talking about basically about the renal regulation of pH without wasting any time. So we'll go across renal regulation of pH. It is basically a very wide topic. So you need to focus and you need to read it very carefully. So renal regulation of pH. So the important function of kidneys is to regulate the pH of extracellular fluids, and the normal urine has a pH of around 6. So this pH is lower than that of your extracellular fluid, which is always 7.4. So this is called acidification of urine. So because the pH is getting lowered, so it is called acidification of urine. The pH of urine, it may vary from as low as 4.5 to as high as 9.8. So depending upon the amount of acid excreted, the major renal mechanisms for regulation of pH are excretion of hydrogen, absorption of bicarbonate, that is recovery of bicarbonate, and excretion of titrable acids, net that is net acid excretion, and excretion of ammonia or ammonium ions. So these will be the four major topics that we'll be studying in this topic. So first one is excretion of your hydrogen ions or generation of your bicarbonate ions. So this process, it occurs in your PCT, that is proximal convoluted tubules, and these PCTs are located in your kidneys. So the carbon dioxide, it will combine with water to form your carbonic acid with the help of your carbonic anhydrase. So the H2CO3, it will then ionize to hydrogen and bicarbonate. So the hydrogen ions are secreted into tubular lumen in exchange for sodium reabsorbed. So these sodium ions along with HCO3 minus will be reabsorbed into your blood, right? So there is a net excretion of hydrogen ions and net generation of bicarbonate ions. So this mechanism, it serves as increase in alkali reserve. Now, I have told you about this. So further, I'll try to share with you the diagram. So here, if you can see the diagram on my screen, there it is showing PCT in the center, which is a proximal convoluted tubule, and here you can see that carbon dioxide and hydrogen, which in presence of carbonic anhydrase, it is getting converted to H2CO3. Now it is releasing HCO3 minus ions and H plus ions. So this HCO3 minus ions, they are turning into getting into plasma. So and these H plus ions, they are getting into your tubular lumen, right? So this was what I was talking about. Now uh, the second thing we'll talk here about in renal regulation is reabsorption of your bicarbonate. So it is mainly the mechanism to conserve your pH. So there is no net excretion of hydrogen ions. So the cells of PPT have a sodium hydrogen exchanger. When sodium enters the cell, hydrogen ions from cell they are excreted into your luminal fluid. So the hydrogen ions are generated within the cell by the action of your carbonic anhydrase. So the hydrogen ions they are excreted into luminal fluid and it is required for the reabsorption of filtered bicarbonate. So the bicarbonate is filtered by glomerulus and this is completely reabsorbed by proximal convoluted tubules. So uh, the so the urine is normally bicarbonate. So now bicarbonate it combines with hydrogen in tubular fluid to form carbonic acid and it will dissociate into water and your carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide diffuses into cells which again combines with water to form your carbonic acid. So in cells it again ionizes to hydrogen that is excreted into lumen and it will exchange for sodium. So the HCO3 minus is reabsorbed into plasma along with sodium. So there is no net excretion of hydrogen. So or generation of new bicarbonate. So the net effect of these process is reabsorption of filtered bicarbonate, which is your mediated by sodium hydrogen exchanger mechanism. But this mechanism prevents loss of bicarbonate to your urine, right? Now we'll share this through your further. Now, okay, I'll again share with you the other diagram. So, for this one, again, I will. So, this one is the diagram. Here again, the carbon dioxide and water they are forming H2CO3. Now, bicarbonate is going here, and H plus is going to tubular lumen, right? And now, you can look at this diagram again. That one was the last diagram. Now for the reabsorption of bicarbonate, like H2O plus CO2, it will give H2CO3 in presence of carbonic anhydrase. And this H2CO3, it will break into HCO3 minus and a hydrogen ion. So this HCO3 minus as it's going into plasma and if this hydrogen ions are going into your tubular lumen, right? Now this it will again in combination with HCO3 minus in your tubular lumen, it will form again H2CO3 and in presence of carbonic hydrate, it will form carbon dioxide and water which will be transported to your tubular cells. So it will be a complete cycle. So it will keep going on and on. It won't stop. Now further, let's see about we'll be looking about excretion of hydrogen as trituric acids. So in distal convoluted tubules, net acid excretion occurs. So hydrogen ions are excreted by distal tubules and collecting ducts by hydrogen ion ATPase, which is located in your apical cell membrane. So the hydrogen ions are generated in your tubular cells by reaction catalyzed by carbonic anhydrase. So the bicarbonate generated within the cell passes into plasma And the term titrable acidity of urine, it refers to the numbers of milliliters of N by 10 NaOH required to titrate 1 liter of urine to pH 7.4, and this is the measure of net acid excretion by kidney. So the major titrable acid present in urine is sodium acid phosphate, and as the tubular fluid passes down the renal tubules, more and more of hydrogen are secreted into luminal fluid, so that its pH steadily falls and process starts in proximal tubules but continues up to distal tubules. So, due to the sodium to hydrogen exchange occurring at renal tubular cell border, the Na2HPO4 basic phosphate, and it is converted to your NaH2PO4, which is your acid phosphate. So, as a result, the pH of tubular fluid will fall, and the acid and basic phosphate pair is considered as the urinary buffer, and the maximum limit of acidification is pH 4.5. Okay, pH is 4.5. So this process is inhibited by your carbonic acid inhibitors like acetazolamide. Now, excretion of ammonium ion. So it predominantly occurs in distal cumulative tubules, and it was helped to excrete hydrogen and reabsorb your HCO3 minus. So this mechanism, it also helps to trap hydrogen ions in urine, so that large quantity of acid could be excreted with minor changes in the pH. So the excretion of ammonia, it helps in elimination of hydrogen ions without appreciable changes in pH. So now the glutamine is present in tubular cells. It can hydrolyze glutamine to ammonia and glutamic acid, and the ammonia, it diffuses into luminal fluid and it combines with hydrogen to form NH4 minus, that is ammonium ions, and the glutaminase activity is increased in acidosis. So the large quantity of hydrogen ions are excreted as NH4 plus in acidosis, and since it is a positively charged ion, it can accompany negatively charged acid anions. So sodium and potassium are conserved. So normally about 70 milliequivalents of acid is excreted daily, but in conditions of acidosis, it can rise up to 400 milliequivalent per day, and enhanced activity of glutaminase and increased excretion of NH4 plus, it will take about 3 to 4 days to set in under conditions of acidosis, but once established, it has high capacity to eliminate acid. Now, ammonia is estimated in urine after addition of formaldehyde, and the titrable acidity plus ammonia content will be measured for acid excreted from the body, and the maximum urine acidity is reached in is 4.4. So here we finish with your renal excretion. So the factors that will affect renal acid excretion is increased filtered load of bicarbonate, decrease in ECF volume, decrease in plasma pH, increase in PCO2 of blood, hypokalemia, and aldosterone secretion. So here we end with a renal regulation of pH. For any doubts or any confusion, you can always contact me, and we'll meet in next class. Until then, goodbye.